If you have type 2 diabetes, or even just some awareness of high blood sugar, the following numbers will probably mean something very interesting to you. These are the last 5 A1C results I've recorded. Sometimes it's called the HbA1c or hemoglobin A1c. This is going back to the beginning of 2017. And my results are 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.1, 5.3. So you can see the consistency of the range. Now again, if you're aware of blood sugar issues, those are going to mean something to you, and basically what they're going to mean is these are really good numbers. For somebody who 2 years ago had full-blown type 2 diabetes, these are pretty spectacular. The real test though for the type 2 diabetes is what's called the 2-hour oral glucose tolerance test, or OGTT. Now if you've had to go through one of these, you kind of have my sympathy, because you walk into the lab where they do the testing. They sit you down, they take a bunch of blood off you, and then they pour a bottle of fairly foul tasting glucose down your throat. And then you have to go and sit in a waiting room with a whole bunch of sniffling, coughing, hacking people for 2 hours. And then they call you back in and they take another blood test. What they're actually testing, of course, is how good your insulin response is to a big spike of glucose. A person without type 2 diabetes, they down that glucose, their insulin system kicks in, deals with the glucose, and 2 hours later, everything's calmed down and close to being back to normal. But a person with type 2 diabetes has insulin resistance, and after 2 hours, insulin is still trying to do something with that horrible spike of glucose that its body is fighting against acceptance all the time. So the measure is that if you have, after 2 hours, if your blood sugar number is 198 or more milligrams per deciliter, or for the other people, the other language, it's 11 plus millimoles per liter. Here's my last three numbers. In July 2017, that was 18 months after I started trying to fix my diabetes, my number was 144 or 8.0. That was the first time I had been in the non-diabetic range for many years. That was a breakthrough for me. A few months later in December, tested again, way better, 130 and 7.2. Tested again in April, after keeping doing the same thing I'd been doing, 110 over 6.1, and those numbers are excellent for anybody, not just for somebody who was 315 pounds, 300 pounds for the past 30 years, and type 2 diabetic for several years. They're just flat out good numbers. Now, during that point, another number that might mean something to some of you at least is I lost 120 pounds. And it was not hard, and I did not go hungry. This will mean something to some of you at least. But when my weight was up there, 300, 315, I had blood pressure problems that were beginning to become something of a concern. However, on May the 30th, which is when my doctor formally changed my medical records to say this man no longer has diabetes, he tested it and it was 100 over 70. And in fact, for the last 8-9 months, I've typically been, that top number 100 has been somewhere between 95 and 105 consistently. Okay, that's a good number to have. It removes a lot of concerns about some serious problems that I could have been developing if my blood pressure had continued to go through the roof. Okay, if you want to learn more about how I achieved those great results, go to fuelupshapeup.com/diabetesgone-3bt. The 3BT there stands for 3 boxes ticked, and I use it as a brand name on a lot of things, because typically what I did was I ticked 3 boxes. Box number 1 was get rid of the diabetes. Box number 2 was lose a lot of weight. Box number 3 was don't go hungry while you're doing it. Okay, you'll also find a link to this in the description underneath this video. So fuelupshapeup.com/diabetesgone-3bt. Okay, thanks for your time. Hope you found it interesting.